Hey, this is No Autopilot, host of the Token Takeover podcast and founder of the Gaming Startup Collective. In today's episode, we're sharing a conversation with Dante over at SKALE. Learn about the emerging tech coming out of that team, as well as what applications it has for your Web3 game. All right, enough of me talking. Let's jump in.
Well, hello.
You can hear me?
Yeah, what's up, man? How are you?
I'm doing well. Last time we spoke, my dog chewed up my AirPods, and now I went to AppleCare, so now I can hear you guys and have an amicable conversation. I'm really excited.
Right on, man. Hopefully the dog doesn't try and thwart our conversation.
Yeah, he's taking a nap right now. He's a good boy. I made sure to run him around a little bit before this call, so we're all good. I'm excited.
That's part of his trap, man. He's like looking at you out of the crack of his eye when you're not looking. Well, it's great to have you here. Thanks for swinging through to the community.
Yeah, I'm excited. I've already gotten a few DMs from your community, and they all, as per usual, seem awesome. So I'm here to answer questions, and I'm here to learn more about what you guys are up to. I'm gonna sit back and shut up and just let you take the reins, man.
Yeah, so I'll kind of set the scene a little bit. So we bring in guest speakers 2 to 3 times a week. Have a series of questions that we're trying to find answers for. These sessions are recorded, and then I get them up on the YouTube. I rip the audio out and put it up on our podcast. And then we'll go ahead and we'll kind of pull out little cool snippets and share it across Twitter as well. So these sessions, the whole intention is just like a blockchain conference after event bar vibe. So very, very relaxed.
Love it.
So, okay. So, hey, what's up, Colin? Thanks for joining. So let's start here. So the folks, and no, that's fine, Dante, all good. So for the folks who don't know you or SKALE, can you kind of give us a quick introduction?
Yeah, absolutely. So my name is Dante. I run ecosystem at SKALE, and that essentially means that I get to talk to really, really smart builders building cool things and make sure that they have all of the resources that they need scale-wise in order to be successful. So, this includes talking to builders, getting them fast-tracked into our grant program, making sure that they have all the support that they need from the SKALE community and the SKALE team in order to succeed. So it's really, really fun because, like I said, I enjoy talking to smart people building cool things. And I especially excited about this because I think that, especially when we talk about gaming, SKALE is a really, really amazing technology to share with these gamers, because I would not be doing what I am doing today if I did not believe that SKALE and technology could genuinely benefit every single person who is building a game out there, whether it be a Web 2 game or a quote-unquote Web 3 game. But I digress. So SKALE in general, for those who have not heard of us, first of all, I recommend that you go check us out. Like my rule of thumb in this space is that this is blockchain. So don't believe a word I say. Go verify everything that I'm about to tell you for yourself. But SKALE in general, if I want to use all of the jargon of blockchain, I say that we are an EVM compatible scalability solution that is natively multi-chain or app specific. Truthfully, I don't really like describing SKALE this way. I think it's kind of a mouthful and doesn't really tell you what you need to know. The way that I like describing SKALE is that we are a blockchain network that was really built for 2 things primarily, and that is user experience and scalability, right? And for those of you who have been in the space for a while, talked to a lot of other networks, you probably have heard these buzzwords before. But the difference with SKALE is that every single thing that happens on this network has 0 gas fees, instant finality, super low latency, and pretty much unlimited horizontal scalability. And those features are really cool, but what you guys, as the game devs, as the game designers, as the builders, particularly use these features for is to essentially build out invisible blockchain experiences. And what I mean by that is that SKALE really, really specializes in helping developers and builders create experiences that look and feel and interact exactly like a Web 2 experience, while still being able to have all the inherent benefits and features and values of building on top of a blockchain. And so a lot of the people that are coming over to SKALE in terms of game devs are not only looking to target those Web 3 native, Web 3 degen folks, but more importantly, target those Web 2, Web 2.5 type of gamers. Because when you think of the traditional blockchain game, you need to know it's on a blockchain. You need to oftentimes have a wallet. You need to oftentimes go through the KYC process to fund that wallet with a specific type of token, connect it, sign transactions, yada, yada, yada. That's not the experience that SKALE enables. The experience that SKALE enables is one that you go in there and you feel like it is a Web 2 experience, right? Your friends and family who have never touched a blockchain before in their lives can come on and experience your game in a way where they can take advantage of all of the blockchain features and benefits, but they don't necessarily need to know what bridging is or a wallet is or an NFT is. And I'm happy to show you guys demos of what this looks like. But all we are is a blockchain infrastructure that allows you guys as the builders to be able to build the experiences that you think are genuinely best for your users without needing to build around or conform to the standard limitations of a blockchain, right? And as a result of this type of user experience and scalability and performance, we've seen a tremendous increase or, a boom of game devs coming over to Scale in the last year or so, right? CoinGecko just recently released a report that said that Scale was the #1 blockchain in the world for gaming. We have about 10 million active wallets in the network. The vast majority of those are gamers, and we're continuing to onboard new games and new gamers every single day. And the reason for these numbers are really just the fact that you can fundamentally build better, more performant, more user-friendly type of experiences on Scale than you can pretty much anywhere else in the world. So I know that was a very, very long, high-level overview. So I want to, just sit back and answer any questions that you have or that your community has.
No, man, you did great.
Hey, are you a builder looking for grants to build your ideal Web3 gaming startup? If so, you should take a look at the Arbitrum grant program. With grants up to $25,000 and a specific focus on supporting early stage indie game devs, it could be the perfect fit. Link is in the description. Make sure to check it out. Now back to the podcast.
Quick shout out. Welcome Building Dwarf. Welcome 1208. Colin, you get another shout out. Quick question. Can you hear my dog snoring in the background?
No. Can you hear mine?
No. Okay, cool. He's literally...
All right, we're good to go.
So I got to make sure. Okay, so I've been in the blockchain industry now for about 3 years. It seems like Scale just blew up out of nowhere. I don't know, maybe in the last year or so. I could have been out of the circle. Can you kind of share a little bit about Scale's origin story? Why was it founded? What gaps did they see? I guess anything interesting there.
Absolutely. So started in late 2017, early 2018. So we have two co-founders. One on the more technical side, our CTO, his name is Stan Kladko. He is, and don't take this lightly, probably one of the smartest people that I've ever met in my entire life. He's, Stanford PhD, Los Alamos Labs, physics genius, trained in cryptography under Dan Bonet, just a very, very, very smart person. On the other side, we have Jack O'Halloran, who's another one of our co-founder on the lab side of things. And he is sort of an experienced Silicon Valley vet. He's, done everything from consumer tech to AI and anything in between. What happened in terms of founding of Scale was that Stan, being, the genius he is, came up to one of the venture capitalists that's actually funding us and said, hey, I have this incredible idea for all of these different applications that we can build on chain, and this is what I want it to look like. And when he started talking with Jack, what they realized is that the power is not in all of these applications, but it's under the underlying infrastructure. So Stan was like, hey, I have all these, really cool ideas for blockchain applications, and here's how they're going to work. But quickly it became, all right, it's not the applications that are powerful, it's the underlying architecture that powers it. And so Scale came to be because we realized that current blockchains are not really built for scale. Inherently, most monolithic blockchains are, built in a way where it's almost an anti-economy of scale, right? The more users that you add, inherently, the slower that the network becomes and the more expensive gas fees become. And that's not a scalable model at all. And I think that that was something, even in 2017, 2018, that was a blaring red flag for the industry as a hurdle that we needed to overcome before we achieved mass adoption. And so the approach that we're taking is very, very similar to what you saw, the revolution of cloud computing or consumer technology, specifically in the context of communication, right? We all remember the days where we have to pay for every single text and every single phone call that you made. And what made it worse is that in blockchain, when the network got congested, it became more expensive to send communication or to send transactions. So we realized that was a terribly, terribly inefficient system. And so the solution that we have was fundamentally from day one designed to solve that scalability in a way that no one else at the time had even thought of. And what we quickly realized is that not only does it solve issues with scalability, but almost more importantly, it solves a lot of the issues with user experience, right? Because you could have a super, super scalable network, but if no one's going to use it. And so those were sort of the two facets that we decided to focus on moving forward. Scale, as we know it today, sort of V2, launched in June of 2022. And like I said, since then, we have onboarded about 10 million active wallets. We are doing tens of millions of transactions every single month. Our user growth has really, really skyrocketed. And none of this really is from gimmicks like airdrops. So all of this is just from, hey, we got a bunch of really, really brilliant engineers together, and we have built a product that we genuinely believe is going to help people. And so we've been very, very focused on helping devs build the best version of their product they possibly can. And that's the reason for our success, is that our games are able to onboard users like no other games are, and the developers are finding it much, much easier to actually build out scalable architecture than, like I said, pretty much anywhere else in the world.
Fire, man. That's tremendous. So folks, you know how this works too. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. I can read them for you. If you want to ask your question up on the stage, we don't bite. Feel free to come on up. Okay, so we had a call, I guess, earlier this week. And one thing that really stood out to me was Scale's posture on being multi-chain. I don't have the graph here, but the vast majority of our members are bootstrapped. Maybe they've chosen their first chain, or they haven't chosen a chain to build on yet. And oftentimes when they look at like grant programs, that type of thing, it really is like, if we give you this, we expect you to only kind of work within our ecosystem. And so that really stood out to me. I guess if you don't mind, can you share, I guess, your team's reasoning behind that?
Yeah, so just to provide additional context for those of you that are listening, Scale does not have any type of exclusivity agreement. We never have, and we probably never will. And the reason for that just sort of comes down to the ethos of why we're doing what we're doing, which is, we are here to help builders succeed and grow. If you are a builder that thinks that your game or your dApp would benefit from going multi-chain and being live on multiple networks, fantastic, right? We have many games on Scale that are live on multiple different networks. We also have games on Scale that are just live on one, just live on Scale. And, when you ask those people why, they say, it's because we think that Scale has the best technology, and no one can do what we want to do on Scale. And that's totally fine too, right? At the end of the day, we want you guys to do what is genuinely best for your application. Our structure of having zero gas fees and everything like that really sort of also changes the incentive structure on how we work with dApps, right? Most networks want you to come over to their network because they make money off of every single transaction that happens via gas fees, right? So oftentimes they'll sort of try to bribe you to come over with grants or gas offset fees and things that just are not the most sustainable, to be very frank with you. And that's fine if you're, a short-term focused person, but like at Scale, we're long-term. We want to focus on not only on where your game is going to be in a month, but where your game is going to be in 5 years, in 10 years. And so everything that we do here is very, very sustainable. And when it comes to the multi-chain thing, like that's what you think is best for you, that's fine. In fact, sometimes we even encourage it for those who are going after more Web3 degen type of audiences, because what happens is, you'll go multi-chain and you'll be live on Scale and all these other networks, and soon people will realize like, why would I pay gas if I don't have to? And oftentimes it becomes almost a competitive advantage in the game. And so we see a lot of users, a lot of gamers moving over from other networks to Scale just because it provides them with a clear and obvious advantage. So, like I said, we have no exclusivity agreements. We probably never will. All our concern is that you guys are doing what you genuinely feel.
Perfect. Loving it. So we have our first question from Colin. Colin says, is the Scale ecosystem exclusively meant for building gaming apps, or does it facilitate esports research, player education? My take on that would be like educational type grants to share about the Scale ecosystem. I guess, is there any infrastructure set up there to support that type of work?
Yeah, so let's talk from a tech perspective first. At the end of the day, like I said, Scale is an infrastructure. We are a fully functioning EVM blockchain. Anything that you would like to do in terms of building something on a blockchain, you can do on Scale, right? It does not need to be games. It just so happens that a lot of the inherent features and benefits that come with building on Scale leverage themselves really, really well within gaming, which is why 90% of what we do is sort of gaming oriented or consumer entertainment oriented, but by no means is it limited to just that, right? If you want to build a quant trading DeFi application, fantastic. Come over. We have companies that are just using Scale as a distributed compute engine and replacing their centralized servers. Totally fine. When it comes to the grant program, our grant program is super, super unique in many different ways. First of all, and I can promise you this, every single person who comes over to build on Scale does so because, again, they genuinely believe that this technology is what is best for their ecosystem. Not a single person, not a single dev in the entire network came over to Scale because of our grant program or because they were paid to build on the network, right? So our grant program is also super, super unique in the sense that it takes those individuals and supports them in ways that facilitate growth and user acquisition, among other things. So as you guys know, Scale is a zero gas network. The way that revenue comes into the system is that we are an app-specific network, meaning that you guys are, as devs, pay a flat fee to either commission your own Scale chain or commission space within someone else's Scale chain. So the first part of our grant program is designed to help subsidize that cost so that you guys can build, develop, and deploy completely for free. And, we can talk about the numbers in terms of what this will save you when it comes to gas fees. Oftentimes, if you're on one of the more congested networks, it's quite literally in the millions. So, there's an incentive of itself. That's sort of step one. Step two to our grant program is ones that are designed around user acquisition and growth, meaning that we will allocate tokens on a milestone basis that you can use to incentivize users to. Oftentimes, these are reserved for people who are actively building on Scale and onboarding users to Scale. So we don't necessarily pay for people to develop educational content necessarily, but if you have an educational application that you would like to build on the network, we are more than happy to chat about that. We work a little bit differently than a lot of ecosystems in terms of what we decide to allocate for grants. But as always, my DMs are open. So if you have any questions on this, I encourage you to reach out.
You guys probably already know this from all of our different calls, but I really do respect those in the space that are welcoming and supportive of early stage builders. I've been on the other side of the coin with some of the larger chains, and you're kind of just a number. And once you sign up, there's no real grant incentives. There's no real Marcom support. There's a little bit of dev support if you jump into the Discord. And so it's very refreshing to see projects like Scale and Dante just being so supportive of you early builders. So anyhow, go through the questions here. 12:08 a.m., which, by the way, we never asked what that's from yet. Or maybe I did and I forgot. I'm curious to know. Wondering if it would be possible to connect a traditional Web2 crowdfunding platform, sales, to a Scale chain.
The shorter answer is yes. Like I said, Scale's a fully functioning EVM blockchain, but more so than that, because of course, the zero gas fees, but also the scalability architecture behind Scale. Like I said, we have people using Scale for all different types of things. Right? We have people that are doing AI sentiment analysis for social media and putting that data on chain. We have people who are in gaming who are connecting AI NPCs and allowing them to interact with the blockchain. You can use Scale for whatever you think is best, right? So we have people who are quite literally using Scale as a distributed compute engine, right? And in your case, if you want to put, for example, inventory on chain or data on chain, absolutely you can use Scale for that. And honestly, that's one of the more unique ways to use Scale, because on most other chains where you have to pay gas fees, that it doesn't really make a lot of economic sense to do so, or tech sense to do so either. So absolutely is the short answer.
Fantastic. So folks, just a heads up, we do have a hard stop at 9:30 a.m., so about 9 minutes. So if you have any questions, you want to make sure you get them out now. I want to use crowdfunding platform to get them in and then buy an NFT for him. Yeah, so Dante, if folks want to learn more about building on Scale, how should they reach out to you? And then can you kind of share a little bit about what we're doing with the GSC partnership?
Yes. So reaching out to me, you guys have my Discord because you're here. That's a really good way to do it. Also, I've been tagged in the Twitter posts coming out of this community. So please add me on Twitter and DM me there. Like you guys know, this is an open book. So if you have any questions, please, I encourage you to DM me. You're always welcome to go to our website, follow us on Twitter. Our website is scale.space. Our Twitter, I believe, is Scale Network. We are constantly coming out with announcements, always have really, really big AMAs going. Even if you're, not ready to build right now, and this is something that you want to follow up with, I encourage you to follow up with it. If you are a builder and want to get your hands on the network itself, we have an open testnet called Chaos Testnet. I very, very much encourage you to go there and just have a lot of fun, try to break it, right? I had devs come to me, they're like, oh my gosh, Dante, I just minted 10,000 NFTs in 10 seconds with zero gas fees. That would have broken another network. And those are the type of experiences that I really love. If you're a builder, go build. right? That's what I encourage first and foremost. You're welcome to contact me with whatever questions you might have. I know that I love talking to, like I said, smart builders who are building cool things, and I've already been talking to a lot of people in this community, and it seems like you guys are all just very, very oriented around building the right things the right way. So excited about that.
Fantastic. And if you didn't know, folks, so we have a new place for Dante to call home.
Yeah.
SKALE Grants channel. We've pinned not only his contact information in there, information about the program itself, and you can always just tag him if you want to in there. Okay, so I think as we're kind of rounding out the call, like Dante, I think you're in a really interesting place. You talk to a ton of teams. You know, a competitive landscape when it comes to like other gaming chains and like their gaps and their strengths. I guess, you know, like what are, and this is unofficial, right? This is not from SKALE, but like, what are your takes on, you know, what's in store for Web3 gaming in 2024?
Yeah, I think that traditionally there's been two segmented markets. There has been Web2 gaming and there has been Web3 gaming. I think that those who are only going after Web3 degens are, to be very blunt, going to die, right? Everyone right now is competing for the same few 100,000 gamers, which is not going to be a sustainable model in the long run. I think that when it comes to this next cycle and the games that are really going to succeed long term, these are going to be the games that are effective at not only targeting those Web3 degens, but also targeting those Web2 users, which means that instead of being a blockchain game, you are going to be a game that uses blockchain as a means of elevating the experience, whether that means providing your users with ownable assets, whether that means providing them with easy experiences to earn, or, you know, on-chain transparent tournaments or leaderboards, whatever that means to you. Blockchain is not going to be used as the poster anymore. Blockchain is going to be used as a backend. And the way that I see things is just like your users do not care for the most part whether you build on Unity or Unreal Engine, or whether you use Amazon AWS or Microsoft Azure, they shouldn't care what blockchain, right? Because at the end of the day, in my opinion, the games that are going to be successful are the ones that are able to obfuscate blockchain out in the background and allow the users to just come in and play the games. Like, all of you are building to entertain, to make sure that people have fun. And that should always, always, always come first and foremost. And the people that are going to succeed are the ones that are just going to be building the best games and allowing people to do more than they can at any other game. That is my personal prediction on the future.
You got a SKALE gets it, devil horns rocking hand emoji. So, DV says, "Hey Dante, we got to catch up again." Tom says,
"Yeah, let's do it."
Can Dante give us a quick feedback about SKALE and on-ramp solutions?
All good. Buildingdorf, nice to see you again, man. We actually just signed with Transact. Transact, as you guys know, has NFT checkout and easy fiat on-ramping. That's what I would personally recommend for sort of Web2 style users. A lot of our games have also seen success with free-to-play. That's a really, really unique one on SKALE because you can actually do free-to-play on-chain because, again, there are no gas fees. So you can reward people with NFTs, you can reward people with tokens and do so without them paying any type of gas fees and just sending that stuff to, you know, a background wallet. Those are my personal recommendations for onboarding those Web2 users.
Fantastic. All right, folks. So we got 4 minutes left.
And by the way, few things that I want to mention. The SKALE grant chat, I will do my best to monitor that. If you send a message in there and do not hear from me, ping me individually. Like I said, I'm fairly responsive to DMs. Just let me know that you guys are coming from here, and I'll happily respond. The other thing that I'll say is, like, we have a grant program that is designed to support builders and allow them to grow. I have seen a lot of people come to me just for grants, and that usually does not work out so well for them. Just to let you guys know, like, I've had people come up to me and like tell me that I smell like grants when I'm wearing a SKALE shirt. Probably not the best way to go. Like, we're here to support builders who are building incredible things. We have other means of getting you fundraising, but as you guys know, like, our grant program is designed specifically for, you know, helping you guys succeed from an architectural perspective and from a growth and user acquisition perspective. Unfortunately, we don't have like an investment arm or anything like that, but happy to work with you guys to come up with solutions to that.
Yeah, I would add to that too. Like, so a lot of folks have built some tech and now they're trying to figure out what is the blockchain that makes the most sense. So we definitely we got to be careful kind of when we reach out to collaborate on these type of things, because we want to make sure the reputation of Gaming Startup Collective stays strong. We don't want to be considered grant hoppers. That being said, all you guys are building real shit. So don't hesitate to reach out to Dante and SKALE.
Please, always space for builders like yourselves, regardless of, what stage you are at. If you guys are just starting to build or if you guys have tons of users, we're here to make this process easy. And I am sort of the tip of the iceberg in terms of support, but the more that you dive into SKALE, the more that you're going to understand, hey, we have an entire marketing team to help support you on the co-marketing PR. We have an entire tech and dev support team that's designed to help make this integration process easy. I'm just sort of the front lines when it comes to the support, but the entire SKALE team has a very, very single-minded, relentless ambition towards helping the dApps on SKALE succeed.
Love it. Okay, folks, so feel free to get your messages sent as quickly as you can. You got 1 minute here. In the meantime, I'm going to drop this link. We did this for the first time last weekend, and it went so well, we're going to do it every week going forward. It's our crit hit community calls. So it's a reality check for everyone to hold each other accountable, share what you were intending to accomplish the prior week, if you did, if you didn't. And if you didn't, that's A-okay. But maybe you could tell us where you're stuck, where you need some help, and the community could kind of rally around and help you out. Definitely swing through in that. Let's see here. Tom, been watching SKALE for some time since one of our partners, AI Land, is deployed there. Good tech is good tech. Colin, opinion. Should Web2 players new to Web3 gaming be made aware that they're buying items with potential monetary value in a Web3 game outright, or would they just spend and learn later? Yeah, it's a deep question. I don't know if we're going to be able to get it today because I think Dante has to drop. Definitely studying, learning more. And yes, Dante.
Yeah, and always happy to come back here, man. This was a lot of fun. So you have my calendar. Feel free to just throw anything on there, and I'm happy to jump back on because y'all are awesome.
Yeah, and actually, a big thank you to Dante and SKALE for participating in our upcoming demo day. We should see him as our panelist in at least one session for sure. Cool.
Awesome. Appreciate it, guys. Have a good one. We'll talk soon.
All right, folks. Bye.